The family of late model and actor Twisha Sharma has escalated its fight for justice, making explosive allegations during a press conference in Bhopal. Twisha's grieving parents, joined by her brother Major Harshit, a serving army officer, accused the administration of shielding an influential family through what they described as a state-sponsored cover-up, procedural sabotage and deliberate delays in the investigation. In an emotional appeal, the family declared that Twisha's final rites will not be conducted until a second post-mortem is carried out. Major Harshit questioned why Twisha's mother-in-law was allegedly opposing a fresh post-mortem, claiming that Twisha's body is hiding a lot of truths. He also raised serious questions over why the first call to the police was made by Twisha's own family and not her in-laws. The army officer further slammed that he called personal character attacks against his deceased sister and alleged that his brother was threatened by unidentified individuals inside the court premises. Standing firmly with the family, in fact, he's claimed his father was threatened. Standing firmly with the family, military veterans have now officially joined the campaign for justice, intensifying pressure for a transparent, impartial probe into Twisha Sharma's death. A group of army veterans have rallied around Twisha's brother and Twisha's family, saying while the brother fights for the nation defending the borders, he and his family have been facing indifference when it comes to his sister's case. Retired Major General Shyam Srivastava, Vardi Foundation founder, has now come out strongly in support of Twisha Sharma's family. The decorated army veteran has said it was deeply troubling that Twisha's brother, serving army officer currently devoted to nation service, was facing indifference and obstacles while seeking justice for his own sister. He went on to announce that the group of veterans backing the family would formally petition both the Chief Minister and the Governor, demanding a transparent and impartial probe. The retired army officer asserted truth cannot be hidden and cannot be one-sided. Twisha's mother-in-law, retired Judge Giribala Singh, has strongly defended her son and dismissing the allegations levelled by Twisha's family. In a series of sharp remarks, Giribala Singh claimed that Twisha's behaviour changed after her pregnancy was confirmed and became more difficult following the abortion. She further alleged that Twisha would not, in fact, she would often insist that nobody could control her, describing the late actor as a product of her own personality. Backing her son Samarth, the retired judge said that he too was suffering amid the growing public scrutiny and had every right to protect his liberty in a controversial statement. She argued that her own family deserved public sympathy and maintained that the case against his son warranted immediate dismissal. The comments are likely to further intensify in what seems to be a bitter public and legal battle between the two families, as the demands for deeper investigations only continue to grow. Let's listen in to the reactions.
हम यहाँ पे कोर्ट के जो अंदर होना है, जो फाइनल डिसीजन होना है, उसके जजमेंट पास करने नहीं आए हैं. We are here to question the process. The first call that was made to the police was made by us, not them. And they claimed that they were in a hurry trying to save her. The video that has resurfaced clearly shows Giribala Singh moving in a very calm fashion, walking up and down the stairs, had all the time in the world, having all the knowledge of the judiciary. She had all the access and the ability to call the police, which was exactly 30 seconds away from her home. Why did she not make that call? After that, we have reached here. It took us good 3 days to file the FIR. More than 3 days. 15 तारीख अर्ली मॉर्निंग सुबह 2:30 बजे जाके हमारी FIR लॉन्च हुई है. उससे पहले ही उनकी एंटीसिपेटरी बेल की एप्लीकेशन भी आ चुकी है. It is all a well orchestrated effort on their end.
17 तारीख को उसका कंसेप्शन का मैसेज आते ही उसका रुख बदल गया कि मुझे बच्चा नहीं रखना है. आई सेड व्हाई यू डोंट वांट द चाइल्ड. मुझे ऐसा लगता है बच्चा मुझे मार रहा है, अंदर से मार रहा, मुझे नहीं रखना. इसी के चलते उस रात को शाम के समय मैं ऑफिस से आई हूँ एंड शी वाज इन अ स्टेट, अपने आप को पीट रही थी. मैं नहीं रह सकती. मैं तो इतना डर गई कि आई मीन गर्भ धारण किए हमारे परिवार का कुल अगर आगे बढ़ाना है, वैसे तुम्हें जाना है तो तुम्हारे टिकट तो कल के लिए वी कैन अरेंज, बेसफुली जाओ, अभी जाना है. शी पैक्ड हर बैग्स, कैब बुलाए, जबकि गाड़ी ड्राइवर सब बाहर खड़े थे. शी डिडंट गो. कहाँ रही रात में, वी डोंट नो. मदर से मैंने पूछा वेयर हैज शी गॉन. शी सेड मैं तो नोएडा में नहीं हूँ, वो नोएडा क्यों आ रही है. देन शी सेड कि वो एयरपोर्ट में खड़ी है. आई सेड शी इज नॉट टेलिंग द ट्रूथ. एयरपोर्ट में तो फोन भी नहीं उठा रही है. फिर दूसरे दिन उन्होंने बताया हाँ दीदी आप सही थे कि वो तो नहीं गई थी, वो शायद वहीं रुकी थी जहाँ पहले जब आपसे मिलने आई थी. शादी से पहले हमारे यहाँ आई थी एक बार. तो नेक्स्ट डे उसका नोएडा में 1-2 दिन रुकने के बाद फिर वो नजीराबाद गई थी बाय दैट वंदे भारत और समथिंग. तो उसका इतना मनमाने जो कदम, रेकलेस एकदम एक्शन लेने वाला काम, ये 17 तारीख के बाद मुझे 17 अप्रैल.
उससे पहले ठीक था सब.
उसके पहले तो इट वाज मोस्टली हमारी तरफ से वी वर कोऑपरेटिंग आपको. बट दिस चाइल्ड ना इट बिकेम द टर्निंग पॉइंट. मुझे बच्चा नहीं रखना. उसको लगा था अम्मा कहेंगी नहीं नहीं अच्छा है. और एक हम जब रहता है माँ बनने का कितना सुख रहता है, सुकून रहता है, वो नहीं सुनना चाह रही थी.
And I'm being joined at this point by Deepika Narayan Bharadwaj, who's a social activist, Dr. Vageshwari Deshwal, who's a professor with the Faculty of Law, University of Delhi, as well as IPS officer Gurinder Singh Dhillon, former ADGP, Law and Order, Punjab. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining me. Well, Gurinder Singh, let me just ask you the first question, and this is, a lot is being spoken. The brother, a serving army officer, has come out to the fore and asked several questions. I want to take one question to you, and that is, why was the first call made from Twisha's family and not from the in-laws family? And this becomes more important. Of course, there will be probe around this and all of that. But it becomes more important because on the other side is also a very educated, influential family. You have advocates and former judges who are part of that family. A basic protocol of something as horrible as this happening inside the house, it would have been known that the first call to the police has to go out.
Sneha, good evening to you and fellow panelists, including your views. First of all, I would like to say it's a very sad incident, very tragic incident, and I am fully with the family who lost their daughter. No doubt about that matrimonial home cannot become a zone beyond accountability. But I think all the actions of the in-laws part, however educated they may be, it is that they try to show that they are powerful and they are not accountable.
Why do you say that?
And
why do you say that? What makes you say that, sir?
There is delay in FIR, which is clearly an indication that she was influencing the registration of an FIR. Why was there delay in the registration of an FIR? Even there is a law by which this major could have gone to the local police and got a 0 FIR registered, but he did not follow because he may not be knowing that. And that 0 FIR could have gone to the place of occurrence, the police station, and there would have been no delay in the investigation. Thirdly, this lady, she is educated, she was judge, and she knows the law. After she got the bail, she is coming regular on television and stating certain things which will influence the investigation. Though her statements in video clearly say that she was directly interfering in the married life of the couple. So she has clearly to prove herself that she is not involved. But her statements clearly indicate that she was directly interfering in the married life of the couple. Thirdly, this video, which is now available everywhere, this should have been stopped by the investigating agency, because the first condition of the bail is that the accused will not influence the investigation or the witnesses. She is trying to create a situation where she's asking for sympathy. Now, can you imagine?
It's a direct
if
call.
it
She
was
has
her-
said
if
that
it-
the family that actually should be getting public sympathy is ours.
So let it be a secondary point. Primary point is a young girl has died under mysterious circumstances, and it is within 7 years of marriage. Clearly, there is an indication of cruelty, interference, etc., which police has to look. So, if it was her husband, it was somebody else from the family, I could have still felt that it is okay. She, very well knowing the law, after getting the bail, she should not have talked on video, whatever it is. This clearly shows that she feels she is beyond law.
No.
I can't imagine that
So,
somebody
a
is
simple
allowing
question.
them to do this.
No, a simple question then, Gurinder Singh Dhillon, if you're saying that the fact that she has come up and spoken in the media, there may be others who will argue that it's her right because a lot is being spoken about the family, allegations are going against the family as well, so she's come out in defense. But the fact also remains that her son is on the run and there's a lookout notice against him. How do you look at this, Deepika Narayan?
See, Sneha, there are several cases where the person accused feels so that the person will get some relief from the court in form of anticipatory bail. And this is the phase when people who are accused of heinous crimes as these try to get the relief from the court, and meanwhile they try to escape. Well, in this case, I think this is exactly what is happening. His anticipatory bail now, any which ways, has been rejected, so the police is free to make an arrest. LOC has also been issued and award has also been claimed. But Sneha, I think I have been looking very closely at this case. And, you know, if Twisha is a victim of dowry, domestic violence, all the allegations, she must get justice. But since yesterday, I'm feeling this is much more than just domestic violence in this particular case, Neha. I've gone through the chats. I think this family was going through a lot of expectational, differences. This lady judge comes across as someone who's very authoritative. Probably the house completely went by her decisions. Twisha was having differences with her husband, Samarth. There was pregnancy then there are certain lifestyle issues that they were having. In the chats, she is telling her mother also, her own mother also, the new chats that have come, that I don't want to speak to you also. So I think a larger point over here is to undermine the mental health issues that can escalate so quickly that we just keep on saying, acha, baat kar lo, isse baat kar lo, usse baat kar lo. Law must take its own course. But we are seeing expectational differences so much, especially even in progressive families. This is not an ordinary family, like you said. So far, I have not seen any evidence from a dowry point of view. Whatever is being played out in the media since yesterday, there's not iota of evidence that she was being harassed or tortured for dowry. In fact, her own family was saying ki amma se baat kar lo. If somebody is being abused and harassed for dowry, then the conversation would be ki ye mujhse ye mang rahe hai, wo mang rahe hai, Samarth mujhse ye mang raha hai. These are not the conversations that have surfaced. But I'll make a very, very strong point, agreeing with the former ADGP here, that what ma'am has been, and I'm just saying it out of courtesy of her, former position, what she is saying in the media is a little very insensitive. The kind of statements that she has made in the media are not to the position that she has held. And I would completely agree with Sir, an FIR getting registered after 3 days clearly, cites a conspiracy or misuse of power, I would say. And I'll be very honest, I said this to publicly as well. I think probably this is the first case of earlier, which was called Dowry Death 304B, where I'm seeing an anticipatory bail being given. So there's definitely an influence. And if the family feels that the case is being influenced because of the position of the judge, then it could be transferred out of the state.
And Dr. Vageshwari Deshwal here at this point, Dr. Vageshwari Deshwal, there's a legal system in place, there's a legal process in place. A lot has been spoken and asked. In fact, a former IPS officer was talking about how a judge got an anticipatory bail so soon. But is there also a position of legal impunity for a former judge as well? Is that also a legal view of looking at things?
No one is above the law. And there are multiple problems when we look at this case. As Mr. Dhillon has clearly explained all the procedural nuances, we see that FIR was not registered in a timely manner. We've also seen media reports wherein
And it's not just the FIR not being registered. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but just to mention this, it's also about how there are questions about how essential pieces of evidence were not submitted for the post-mortem report itself. And that's why the family is asking a very simple question. We want a post-mortem again.
There were 2 ligature marks on her neck. The crucial piece of evidence, the nylon belt, why was it not produced by the IO at the time when the first post-mortem was conducted? So crucial pieces of evidence, they are definitely missing. And in this case, I mean, to say that, see, the girls, she was not even talking to her own mother, the reason being that in such cases, usually the girls' parents, they also pressurize their daughter to try and adjust with their in-laws. In this case, although there is no evidence emerging from which we could say that it's a case of dowry tip, since no dowry demand has been established. But what about abetment of suicide? And what about presumption as to abetment of suicide, which applies especially in cases of married women who commit suicides in their matrimonial homes within 7 years of their marriage? So we have provisions under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, we have provisions under the Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam, and it is very clear and very sorry state of affairs that a young girl has lost her life. Whether we are producing chats that maybe she was a drug addict or whatever, we are trying to put the blame squarely on her mental health. The fact is she was 33 years of age. She was married only for 5 months. For 32 years, more than 32 years of her life, why didn't she commit suicide? Why didn't her mental health issues come to the fore?
We would not know
what happened.
Sure.
5 months of her marriage. She has been harassed to an extent that she has been compelled to take her own life.
We had a former judge, not a sitting judge, commit die by suicide
You're talking
here
about
in Delhi, Judge Aman Kumar Sharma.
Correct, you're talking about Judge
No
Aman's
action
case.
has been taken in that case as well. How do we differentiate cases then? Over this, probably the entire country is demanding justice, and rightly so if Twisha has been wrong.
If I remember very clearly in Justice Aman's case also, Judge
Nothing
Aman's
at all
case
has
also,
happened in Aman's
there
case.
was a
Not
huge
even
uproar,
an
there was a
inquiry,
shock, and there
not
was
even an
anger over it as well.
investigation.
It's not man versus woman. It never was.
It's not about
It is
man
about
versus woman. It is
laws. It is
no,
about the system.
ma'am,
how
it is
is
not about
Okay,
man
okay.
versus woman. In that case, also, the wife is a judge. The allegations were that the wife is a judge and the sister-in-law is an
Deepika
IAS
Narayan,
officer.
we'll just
That's
get
why
to you.
there's
We'll get
misuse
to you.
of power.
Deepika Narayan, we'll get to you. Let Dr. Vageshwari make her point.
No, what I just want to say is that, see, when we talk about abetment of suicide here, now this is a provision which in law we also call as constructive homicide. So homicide is killing of a human being by another human being. If you've not actually stabbed a person, you've not actually strangulated a person, but you've created such circumstances, in this case, like we are talking about cruelty, it might be related to dowry, it might not be related to dowry. Herein, there might be a possibility these people, they wanted to pressurize her to continue with the child, whereas whether she wanted the baby or not, the mother-in-law had no business whatsoever of interfering in this, and that too to such an extent that the girl was feeling extremely suffocated. She wanted to run away from the house. She was desperately begging her parents to call her back. In all this, so even if they've created circumstances wherein this girl finds impossible to carry on with her life, still this is sufficient case. It's a cognizable offense, it's a non-bailable offense.
Okay, that's also something that's going to be very sub judice, but Gurinder Singh Dhillon ji, this is the question again that I really want to ask you at this point. While a lot is being spoken about how this may be a dowry case, this may not be a dowry case, there also is this whole angle about how if you are on an anticipatory bail or if you are in a position of influence, and it's not just about the mother-in-law, it's about anybody who may be an accused or is very closely associated to a death or a death by suicide that may have unfolded. There are certain protocols of how to behave, the public decorum, and you have spoken about how the media exchanges in this particular context going completely awry. If that is the case, why isn't the police acting?
I
Or
totally
why isn't
agree
the court
what you're
acting if
saying.
it is a violation of the anticipatory bail condition as you are stating?
So, Sneha, I'll answer these three questions as the sequence is. See, first thing is that this girl, she was married, and it is within 7 years of marriage that she died unnatural death in a matrimonial home. So there is a fair indication that this past 304B, and now I think it is 180 BNS. Similarly, secondly, it is the investigation which has to prove whether there was any dowry demand or not. Whatever this lady judge, ex-judge is saying, it is not acceptable because she is going overboard and telling everything to media. I don't know why it is being allowed. Secondly, even if very rightfully, if she has got the bail, doesn't mean that she's allowed to say whatever she wants to be. I'm again repeating myself that if it was somebody else in the family, like her brother or like somebody else from Giribala's family, that would have been still acceptable. But she is directly under investigation. Bail doesn't mean, anticipatory bail doesn't mean she will not join an investigation as an accused or as a witness. So whatever she is saying, it is a clear-cut legal term that she is influencing. An investigating officer has the authority to go to the court and say that her bail be cancelled because she's influencing. Thirdly, I would like to add about the loss of the life, as other panelists were also saying, that this judge clearly appears that she was directly interfering in the marital home of the lady. And if there was a reason for the MTP, medical terminance of pregnancy, what was she doing in that matter? It is between the lady, the married couple. She has no right to interfere in that. And thirdly, I do want to state
say whether she was
clearly,
interfering or not, whether she has a right or not, is very subjective. And you would agree, I think everybody would agree with me, because in families, your equations, nothing stops her legally from interfering if she wants to. Nothing stops her. Just a minute, sir, allow me. Nothing
she
stops.
can be a guide.
Sir, allow me. Nothing
She-
sir,
she
allow
can
me.
be
I
a
mean, let me
guide,
ask the question
Sneha,
and you can
but
answer me,
not
sir.
that she will
So just a
start
minute, just a
telling
minute.
her
I mean,
what to do
I
and
want
what
to set
not.
this, and it's an important conversation. That's why I want to come in at this point as well. Nothing legally stops a mother-in-law, a father-in-law of any nature, or a sister, or a brother, or a sister-in-law, or a brother-in-law of any nature to get into a relationship and interfere. Interfere, if that's the word that we want to use. It is the husband and the wife who will set those boundaries. And it is for the husband and wife to really set those boundaries. And if that's how the family is functioning, and if she is, according to public perception, somebody who has been quote-unquote interfering, that can't be legally held against her. Important conversation. I really have contours of this that need to be understood. So very quickly, Mr. Dillon, to you, and then I would like to go to Mr. Vageshwari, who's very vehemently nodding her head in disapproval.
See, Sneha, I'll just like to add to what I said, that I am not saying if she was advising something.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm not privy to what has been recorded during the investigation, what statements are there. I'm only looking into what is in public domain and what she was stating in her video, which is not allowed. That clearly indicates, I have done investigations, I know very well, that clearly indication that her role was not advisory. She was like overawing everything. And this is what happens in matrimonial disputes. Clearly, that I want to state these are educated families. The real test of the civilized society is not how to celebrate weddings, but how safely daughters live after the wedding. The problem is we are
Daughters
telling
and sons,
ourselves to
but
be
I
civilized.
really appreciate the
Now,
point that you're
We are not following
making.
the law. We are overawing the law. We are overawing the investigation procedure, and still we have the guts to come on this media and say we are innocent.
I think
Whatever
I think
she's
that
doing-
that statement is so important, and I just want to repeat what you've just said. The real test is not the celebration of marriage, but about how safe the spaces and homes are. I think nothing takes away from what you have said in that sentence. It's so powerful. It's so simple and it's so powerful. Dr. Vageshwari, your quick responses.
Yeah, because Neha, I'll just come to the statement that you made that
Sure.
when it comes to setting boundaries, it is for the man and his wife to take a call. Okay, this is easier said than done. We all know how our traditional family setups work. It's very difficult for the boy to say anything against what his mother wants. It is even more difficult for the girl to contest what the mother-in-law says.
It's so ironical that you would say this, because in this case, and it's so important to get the profile, you know, again, these are all presumptuous things, but important to have conversations around this, because again, you have a model, you have an advocate, you have a judge, you have another advocate, so many layers of authority, influence, all of that playing out.
See, the mother-in-law here, and she comes across as such an authoritarian character. Look at her. Even despite her daughter-in-law's this recent death, she is building narratives. I've also read those media reports.
Can I say,
I'll come to you, Deepika. I'll come to you for the last remark.
It is very important to stay.
Sure, go ahead, Deepika.
You know, we can definitely have our emotional nuances. We want justice for the girl, but let's
We
please
want justice.
understand that
We just want justice. I think it's period at that.
There is no suicide note here. First thing first, there's no suicide note here. So if we are saying that an authoritarian person can be held for abetment of suicide, or a person taking their own life just because that person is authoritarian, I'm sorry, I'm not of agreement of that. Somebody can be very strong in their behavior, but let's understand that the law is very clear. If that person has to be held accountable for somebody to take their own life, there has to be instant instigation, so that the person feels that the person does not have anything else in life but to take this own person's life. And there have been katina of judgments where people have been acquitted by the court of law, observing that there was no instant or immediate instigation for the person to take their own life. This mother-in-law, this female judge can be of a very rude behavior, of a very rude character.
But that doesn't criminally indict her.
But no. But we are
not talking about
is
immediate
more
or
fair.
instant instigation is not required. What about slow burn? What about those
that's
circumstances
again-
where situations they escalate to an extent wherein it
I'm
is
a
like
lawyer.
You know,
I
I
will
think,
talk
I
about
think,
law.
I think, I think, I think, I just want to come in at this point. It's important that this is not about a personality dissection. And I think where Mr. Dhillon made a point that you're coming and influencing something in public,
No,
you
no,
know,
this is
public
certainly
view is possibly
influencing the
a
investigation.
concern. And Mr. Dhillon spoke about it legally from a policing perspective and about why it is a question, particularly when she's got an anticipatory bail.
In
I
fact,
think
Neha,
that's
you know
where
my
the
work.
concern
I've never
really is
seen-
not about
I've-
personalities here.
I've never seen anybody who's an accused in such a crime be given a platform to talk like this. So there's certainly misuse of power happening over here. And this is happening because all of this is playing out in Bhopal, where she has been a judge. I don't
think
think
it's
so
also about
anybody
how-
can deny that.
Sure, we're totally out of
Kamina,
time.
I'd
Maybe
like to add.
maybe five seconds to all three of you to end this up. But please, go ahead, Mr. Dhillon.
I would just like to add, either it is a case of a dowry death, or it is a case of murder, or it is case of a suicide. Now, all three have different dimensions in law, and they are investigated differently, and there is a motive behind it, every of these crimes. But at the same time, if there is a suicide, there may be an instant instigation.
Sure.
But in case of a death, unnatural death in matrimonial home, there is a word called cruelty. And cruelty is not single act. It is a persistent behavior which
Okay.
she faced continuously as a married lady.
Right, and at the heart of it, you know, at the end of the day, it's just 5 months, 7 months that we're really talking about. A 33-year-old's life being snuffed out in a very,
Very sad.
very unfortunate way. And it breaks our heart that this is not just a stray case. I think that's what really breaks our heart. Of course, it's come to the fore because of the influence, because of the different people involved in this, the way veterans have rallied against Twisha's case. But this is also a hard reality of India, and I think all of us really need to look into this very, very strongly. You've had Deepika along with Twisha just in the last few days as well, which is extremely unfortunate. You had Justice
I think Deepika's
Aman's
case is also,
name also.
is of a murder and not really of suicide. I
That's
just
true,
saw
but
the injury
even,
report.
no,
It's
no,
definitely looking
this,
like a murder.
that's also a post-mortem report that's come out. Questions around that as well. You had Mr. Justice Aman's case also that really came out. So all of these things coming to the fore, a whole lot of concerns around this, important conversations. Thank you very much, all three of you,